Good day everyone. Today, I will be discussing the responsibilities of referees in volleyball, focusing on their rules, procedures, and decision making during a match. A volleyball match is officiated by 4 key officials: the first referee, the second referee, the scorer, and line judges. The first referee is responsible for overseeing the entire match and making decisions regarding the rules of the game. They have the final say in all matters related to the match, including penalties and disputes. The second referee supports the first referee in ensuring the rules of the game. They assist in making decisions, especially those involving the net, such as when the ball passes through or touches the net. Scorer is responsible for keeping track of the points, sets, and overall score of the match. They ensure that the official score is accurately recorded and updated, and may also track substitutions and timeout. Line judges are responsible for watching the boundary lines and signaling whether a ball lands in or out. They also help detect footfalls during serves. Procedures and responsibilities. First, whistle control. The first and second referees are responsible for controlling the game's flow by blowing the whistle at the right moment. This prevents confusions and ensure proper game management. First referee starts the rally. Ensure both teams are ready for play before signaling the start. Referees end the rally. A rally ends only when a referee is certain that a fault has occurred, such as the ball going out of bounds or a player committing a violation. Second, approving or rejecting team requests. When the ball is out of play, referees can blow the whistle to approve or deny team's requests, such as timeouts or substitutions. Third, referee hand signals. Referees use official hand signals to ensure clear communication with players, coaches, and spectators. If the fault is whistled by the first referee, they will indicate team to serve next. Nature of the fault. The referee uses hand signals to indicate what rules was violated, such as net touch, out of bounds, or foot fault. Identifying the player at fault. If a specific player commits the fault, the referee will point directly at them to clarify the mistake. The second referee repeats the first referee's signals to reinforce the call and avoid confusion. Fourth, second referee's hand signals. The second referee follows the first referee's decision and ensures consistency by repeating hand signals. If the second referee identifies a fault and blows the whistle, they make specific signals to clarify the ruling. If the fault is whistled by the second referee, they will indicate nature of the fault. The second referee signals what rule was broken, such as net touch or crossing the center line. Player at fault if necessary. If an individual player is responsible, the referee points at them to make the mistake clear. Team to serve next. After signaling the fault, the second referee follows the first referee's decision on which team will serve next. When the second referee calls a fault, the first referee does not signal the nature of the fault or the player responsible. Instead, they only indicate which team will serve next. Fifth, double fault. Referee signals. A double fault happens when both teams commit a violation at the same time. The referees work together to ensure a fair decision. Signal the fault. Both referees indicate the violations committed by each team. Identify a player if needed. If specific players are at fault, the referees may point them out. Decide the serving team. The first referee decides which team serves next, and the second referee repeats the signal for clarity.
First referee. Location. The first referee carries out his or her functions seated or standing on a referee stand located at one end of the net. His or her view must be approximately 50 cm above the net. The first referee sit or stand on a platform at the end of the net with a good view of the whole court. Authority. The first referee directs the match from the start until the end. He or she has authority over all members of the refereeing corps and the members of the teams. They're in charge of everything during the game, including the other referees, coaches, and players. During the match, the first referee's decisions are final. He or she is authorized to overrule the decisions of other members of the refereeing corps if it is noticed that they are mistaken. The first referee may even replace a member of the refereeing corps who is not performing his or her functions properly. The first referee has the final decision on all calls during the game. They can change the decisions of other referees if they think those referees made a mistake. The first referee can even remove a referee from the game if they aren't doing their job correctly. The first referee also controls the work of the ball retrievers, floor wipers, and moppers. The first referee has the power to decide any matter involving the game, including those not provided for in the rules. The first referee shall not permit any discussion about his or her decisions. However, at the request of the game captain, the first referee will give an explanation on the application or interpretation of the rules upon which he or she has based the decision. If the game captain does not agree with the explanation of the first referee and chooses to protest against such decision, he or she must immediately reserve the right to file and record this protest at the conclusion of the match. The first referee must authorize this right of the game captain. The first referee is responsible for determining before and during the match whether the playing area equipment and the conditions meet playing requirements. The first referee controls the people who gather balls, clean the floor, and keep the court tidy. The first referee can decide anything related to the game, even if the rulebook doesn't specifically mention it. The first referee won't let people argue about their decisions. But if the team captain asks, the first referee will explain why they made a particular call. If the captain still disagrees, they can protest the call after the game, and the first referee must allow this. The first referee makes sure the court, equipment, and conditions are ready for the game before and during the match. Responsibilities. Prior to the match, the first referee inspects the conditions of the playing area, the balls and the other equipment, performs the toss with the team captains, controls the team's warming up. During the match, only the first referee is authorized to issue warnings to the teams, to sanction misconduct at delays, to decide upon the faults of the server and of the positions of the serving team, including the screen, the faults in playing the ball, the faults above the net and its upper part, the attack hit of the back row players or the libero, an attack hit made by a player on a ball coming from an overhand pass with a finger by the libero player in his or her front zone, the ball crossing the lower space under the net. At the end of the match, he or she checks the score sheet and signs it. During the match, the first referee watches for any errors made by the serving player on their team, including incorrect positioning or blocking the view of the receiving team. The first referee calls out faults related to how the ball is played, such as hitting it twice or hitting it out of bounds. They watches for any illegal actions that happen above the net, like hitting the net or reaching over the net to hit the ball. The first referee ensures that back row players and the libero follow the rules for attacking the ball. This includes restrictions on where they can hit the ball from and how. They make sure the libero doesn't break the rules, especially when it comes to setting the ball for an attack. first referee determines if the ball crosses the lower space under the net, which is a fault. After the match, the first referee verifies that the score sheet is accurate and sends it to confirm the final result of the match.
So, the next composition is the second referee. Location. The second referee performs his or her functions standing outside the playing court near the post on the opposite side facing the first referee. Authority. The second referee is the assistant of the first referee, but has also his or her own range of jurisdiction. When the first referee become unable to continue his or her work, the second referee may replace the first referee. Second, the second referee may, without whistling, also signal faults outside his or her range of jurisdiction, but may not insist on them to the first referee. Third, the second referee controls the work of the scorers. Fourth, the second referee supervises the team members on the team bench and reports their misconduct to the first referee. Fifth, the second referee controls the players in the warm-up areas. Sixth, the second referee authorizes the interruptions, controls their duration, and rejects improper requests. Seventh, the second referee controls the number of timeouts and substitutions used by each team and report the second timeout and the fifth and sixth substitutions to the first referee and the coach concerned. 8. In the case of an injury of a player, the second referee authorizes an exceptional substitution or grants a 3 minutes recovery time. 9. The second referee checks the floor condition, mainly in the front zone. He or she also checks during the match that the balls still fulfill the regulations. 10th, the second referee supervises the team members in the penalty areas and reports their misconduct to the first referee. Next is his or her responsibilities. First, at the start of each set, at the change of courts in the deciding set, and whenever necessary, he or she checks that the actual positions of the players on the court correspond to those on the line-up sheets. Second, during the match, the second referee decides whistles and signals, such as penetration into the opponent's court and the space under the net. Second, positional faults of the receiving team. Third, the faulty contact with the net at its lower part of or with the antenna on his or her side of the court. Fourth, any completed block by a back row player or an attempt to block by the libero. Fifth, the contact of the ball with an outside object or with the floor when the first referee is not in the position to see the contact. So the third responsibility is at the end of the match, he signs the score sheet. So that's all for the second referee.
Next, we have the scorer. The scorer can be located at a designated table on the other side of the court and is seated opposite of the first referee. He or she is responsible for tracking and recording the scores of each volleyball team. Next, we have the responsibilities of the scorer. He or she keeps the score sheet according to the rules, cooperating with the second referee. He or she also uses a buzzer or other sound device to give signals to referees on the basis of his or her responsibilities. For instance, the scorer shall sound a wireless volleyball buzzer that can be seen in this picture to signal timeout or substitution of players. Then next, the responsibilities of the scorer prior to the match and set. First, the scorer registers the data of the match and teams according to the procedure in force and obtains the signatures of the captains and the coaches. Then second, he or she records the starting lineup of each team from the lineup sheet. Here is an example of a lineup sheet provided. Then third, he or she records the number and name of the libero player. Then next, the responsibilities of the scorer during the volleyball match. First, he or she records the points and ensures that the scoreboard indicates the correct score. Then second, he or she controls the serving order of each team and indicates any error to the referee immediately after the service hit. Then third, he or she records the timeouts and a player's substitutions, controlling their number, and inform the second referee. Then fourth, he or she notifies the referees of a request for interruption that is out of order. Then fifth, he or she announces to the referees the ends of the sets, the start and end of each technical timeout, and the scoring of the 8th point in the deciding set. Then sixth, he or she records any sanctions. Then lastly, the seventh, responsibility of the scorer. He or she records all other events as instructed by the second referee. For example, exceptional substitution, recovery time, prolonged interruptions, external interference, and etc. Then lastly, the scorer's responsibilities by the end of the match. First, he or she records the final result. Then second, in the case of protest, with the previous authorization of the first referee, he or she writes or permits the team captain to write on the score sheet a statement on the incident protested. Then lastly, the third one is after signing the score sheet, him or herself obtains the signatures of the team captains and then the referees.
Next is line judge. A line judge in volleyball is an official who helps the referee by calling balls that land near or on the sideline or end line. They are also responsible for keeping track of the score and communicating with the referee. Location. In only 2 judges are used. They stand at the corners of the court closest to the right hand of each referee, diagonally at 1 to 2 meters from the corners. Each one of them controls both the end line and sideline on his or her side. Responsibilities. 1. The line judges perform their function by using flag. The ball in and out, whether the ball land near the lines. The primary duty is to observe and signal when the ball land near on the line. The line judges decide whether the ball is in or out based on its landing position relative to the boundary lines. It is especially important in fast-paced plays. The touches of out, balls by the team receiving the ball. They are responsible for noticing when the ball is touched out by the team receiving the serve. For example, if the receiving team allows the ball to land outside the court, the line judge signals this. The ball touching the antenna. The serve ball crossing the net outside the crossing space. The line judge observes any ball that touches the antenna or crosses the net outside the designated crossing space. They also watch for fault where the ball crosses the net improperly or it is touched the antenna or their side. Any player except server stepping outside of his or her playing court at the moment of the service hit. The line judges watch of any player stepping outside the court during the service. If a player steps outside the designated area while the serve is being hit, it's the line judges responsible for signal this fault. The faults of the server. They also watch for fault during the serve itself. This could include the server stepping over the line or any other illegal serving action. Any contact with the antenna on their side of the court by any player during his or her action of playing the ball or its interface with the play. If any player except the server touches the antenna on their side of the court while attempting to play the ball or if the antenna interferes with the play, the line judge must signal this fault. Ball crossing the net outside the crossing space into the opponent court or touching the antenna on his or her side of the court. The line judge also keep an eye out for the ball crossing the net outside the proper crossing space or touching the antenna on their side of the court. These are violations and the line judge must indicate them. 2. At the first referee request, a line judge must repeat his or her signal. The line judge may need to repeat their signal for clarification. This ensures that accuracy and transparency of the call.
25 referees hand signal invaluable. Number 1, illegal alignment. If a team is stood in the wrong location at the time the serve commences or the wrong person serves the ball, the other team will be awarded the point. Referee signals a fault by pointing a straightened arm 45-degree angle towards the offending side, then uses small circular motions to indicate a rotation issue. Number 2, line violation. When serving in volleyball, it is illegal to step on or over the baseline during the serve. To signal a line violation, the official points down at the offending line. Number 3, illegal ball handling, such as lifts or carries. Ball resting too long or changing direction while in a player's control results in a violation. The officials slowly lift their forearm with their palm facing upward. Number 4, delay of service. After the referee blows the whistle, players have 8 seconds to serve. Exceeding this results in a point for the opposing team. The referee signals a delayed serve with a flat hand before awarding the point to the opponent. Number 5, over the net. The referee will call a fault if you touch the ball before it crosses the net or the other team hits it. The official place a hand above the net with their palm facing downwards. Number 6, net foul. A net touch on the ball allows the rally to continue, but a player touching the net ends the rally. If a net fault occurs, the referee places their hand on the net, on the side where the fault happened. Number 7, legal back row attack. A back row player can legally attack the ball from in front of the 3-meter line if they jump from behind it. If the attack is legal, play continues until a point is scored. The official signals a legal back row attack by extending their arm at shoulder height and waving it straight down. Back row attack. A back row player cannot attack the ball from the 3-meter line or in front of it, even if they jump from behind the line. It's also illegal to attack the serve from above the net height. This rule prevents player from jumping up and trying to block or spike the serve back. Number 9, illegal blocks or screening. Obstructing the receiving team's view of the server or the ball's flight path is illegal. While players can group and raise their arms, they can't move to maintain obstruction, nor can a server's teammate stand directly in front of them to block the view. The referee signals an illegal screen by raising both hands, palms open to head height. Number 10, ball touch. If the ball lands out of bounds, it is a point to the opposite team of the player who touched it last. To signal a ball being touched and going out, the official raises one hand out in front of them and brushes their fingers upward with the other hand. 11. 4 hits. Teams are allowed 3 hits per side. A block doesn't count as a hit. A 4-hit fault is signaled by holding up 4 fingers. Number 12. Double hit. A player cannot touch the ball twice consecutively. Another player must touch it first. A double touch fault is signaled by showing 2 fingers. Number 13. Ball lands in bounds. A point is awarded to the team that successfully lands the ball in bounds on the opponent's side. The official signals an inbound ball by extending their arm at a 45-degree angle and pointing to the side where the ball landed. Number 14. Out of bounds. A ball is out of bounds if it lands outside the court lines, hits the net outside the antenna, or touches the net supports, ropes, or post. The official signals an out of bounds by bending both the forearms upwards. Fingers point towards the sky with arms extended. Number 15. Begin serve. The referee signals the start of the rally and the serve by blowing the whistle and waving their hand from the server's side to the receiver's side. Number 16. Side out. In volleyball, a side out occurs when the receiving team wins a rally, thus gaining the right to serve. An arm extended to the side, parallel to the ground with the palm facing sideways. Number 17. Point improper service. A point was scored because the serving team made a service fault. The referee's upward pointing arm indicates the point-winning team by its direction. Number 18. Replay service. The referee signals a let or play by putting both thumbs up, one on each side of the net. Number 19. Substitution. Substitutions are used for various reasons, such as replacing an injured player, changing the lineup, or bringing in a specialist server to try and score some aces. A substitution is signaled by the referee placing both arms horizontally, one over the other, and then rotating them in a spin cycle motion. Number 20. Illegal substitution. A coach can only resubstitute a player if they replace the player who swapped them out. If this process isn't followed, it results in an illegal substitution, signaled by the referee raising one arm vertically and rotating it. Number 21. Team timeout. A team timeout is signaled by the official forming a T with their hands at head level and then pointing to the team that requested it. Number 22. Official's timeout. An official's timeout is used for situations requiring immediate attention or clarification. It is signaled by forming a T with hands at head level, then turning the hands toward the head at shoulder level to indicate the timeout is called by the officials and not either team. Number 23. Unnecessary delay. A delay of game is called when a player or team unnecessarily delays the start of play. The official signals this by bringing their hands to the top of their waist as if they were going to rest their hands there. Number 24. End of game. The end of the game is signaled by the first referee crossing both arms across their chest, forming an X shape. Last, number 25. Change of courts. Change courts happen between game or halfway through a deciding game. The referee raises the forearms front and back and twists them around the body.